Thank you for joining us for the Barbados Today afternoon news for Tuesday, January 23rd. I am Mary Claire Williams. Our top story, welcome news for Barbados today after the island was removed from an EU blacklist of tax havens. Grenada was also taken off the list, which was published last month. It included 17 countries, including 4 Caribbean islands. The EU Council of Ministers said they did not sign or ratify the OECD Multilateral Convention on Mutual Administrative Assistance as amended and did not clearly commit to addressing these issues by December 31st, 2018. But in a statement issued today, the EU said 9 jurisdictions remain blacklisted, including St. Lucia and Trinidad and Tobago. The list also includes recommendations on steps that the countries could take to be delisted. The EU says the list is intended to promote good governance in taxation worldwide while maximizing efforts to prevent tax avoidance, tax fraud, and tax evasion. In other news this afternoon, Attorney General Adriel Brathwaite has acknowledged that there are several concerns in the criminal justice system that need to be addressed. Brathwaite was speaking in Parliament this morning during debate on the Police Amendment Act. He says government will address concerns that criminals appear to have greater rights than their victims.
There's a feeling in some parts of the country that the criminal, inverted commas, that seem to have all the rights, and the victims and the victims' families seem to have no rights. We're moving towards addressing that in a very meaningful way. Yes, we have a victim support network, but we're trying to get it even more aggressive, so that in fact that victims and their families now feel more now than ever that the criminal justice system is not working against them and stuff. So as I said, why is that important? Because it's important on many levels. It's important because I have been concerned about what I have been seeing in terms of the number of individuals who, in particular on murder charges, are being given bail. Yes, I accept the constitutional right to freedom, but yet I do believe that in fact, that as a lawmaker and as a society, that in fact, if I listen to my own constituents, in fact, who are alarmed at the frequency of certain individuals, in particular on murder charges, are being given bail, then I felt that it was something that we need to look at.
House Speaker Michael Carrington is describing last week's 2-day industrial action by the National Union of Public Workers as nonsense. The NUPW declared a 2-day national shutdown after government missed the January 15 deadline to conclude salary negotiations. However, the majority of public officers reported for duty on those days. Addressing a branch meeting of the St. Michael West Central constituency at the Lawrence T. Gay Memorial School, Carrington praised the public servants for not heeding the union's call.
I wasn't happy because a union initiative did not come off. What I was happy about was that the hundreds of the thousands of civil servants in this country saw the nonsense for what it was and turned up in their numbers and went to work. And there must be content, there must be congratulated for that. That is what he was talking about. You see, you don't need anybody to go about and to inform Barbadians about what is happening in the country. You don't need anybody to go on CNN and say, oh, that is how they do it. We have educated our people. The masses of people in Barbados have been educated as much as myself and Patrick Todd. And they have the means of going on wherever they want to go and check the information for themselves. The same way we can go and look and most of us can go and look at the laws and interpret them. I have to say most of us. The same way we can do that, they can do it.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Thank you for staying with us. We're back with news from the region. The government of the Bahamas is continuing negotiations with the Public Service Union over the termination of 19 gaming board workers who were dismissed last year. And the union president says they were planning legal action against government for wrongful termination, but the labor minister convinced them against going to court.
I've subsequently had several meetings with members of the gaming board and also with the minister responsible, the Minister of Tourism. We're at the stage now where I'm trying to find an agreement that both parties can live with. I've not reached that agreement yet, and the union is anxious for that agreement to happen.
The union boss says those terminated employees were not contract workers, saying government breached the union's agreement. The labor minister says nearly 21 families have been impacted by those terminations, and he is eager to bring that matter to a close.
I am anxious to get it resolved also. I do not want to get into the details about what we're discussing because I do not want to preempt the final outcome of the talks.
Further afield, international charity Oxfam says 4 out of every $5 of wealth generated last year went to the world's richest 1%, while the poor got nothing. We get more on this story in this Reuters report.
Sheila Bonifacio is well educated and hardworking, but she's also a victim of the Philippines' poverty cycle. She moved to Hong Kong to find cleaning work because the $294 she earned as a teacher in Manila wasn't enough to support her family.
You have no choice. If you will stay in that country and you are the breadwinner and you're ordinary citizens, you end up in a poverty, you end up in hunger.
Around 2.2 million Filipinos work overseas, forced out by a lack of opportunity. On the other side of the coin, last year saw the biggest increase in billionaires in history. Oxfam says 4 out of every $5 of wealth generated in 2017 ended up in the pockets of the richest 1%.
Our economies are rewarding wealth rather than the hard work of millions of people, ensuring that the few at the top get richer and richer.
The increase in wealth for billionaires, $762 billion over the year, is enough money to end extreme poverty across the world 7 times over. It won't though, especially when, as Oxfam says, leaders are fueling the inequality.
President Trump came on a ticket of serving the ordinary person and rigging an economy that's not fair to ordinary people. But he immediately created a cabinet of billionaires who between themselves own more than what 100 million ordinary Americans own.
The charity is calling on leaders at the World Economic Forum in Davos to crack down on tax avoidance and create a more equal society.
That's news this afternoon. Remember, you can get more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also find us on Mix 96.9 FM. I am Marie Claire Williams. Have a good afternoon.